If you're looking to lose weight, but your progress has stopped or you're actually gaining weight, there are certain healthy foods that are actually loaded with sugar and completely stopping your progress. I'm sharing 9 of these healthy foods with you today so that you can break through your weight loss plateau and finally achieve your wellness dreams. Alright guys, if you're new to my channel and you don't know who I am, my name's Autumn and I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance. On my channel, I share the science-backed ways that you can achieve your wellness dreams without counting calories. So if you have a weight loss or wellness goal in mind, make sure you subscribe. Okay, but first, why is it that sugar actually even matters? Isn't it just the total amount of calories that matter? Simply put, sugar is one of the most efficient food sources that causes your body to increase insulin, which is your storing hormone. And insulin's main job is to store carbohydrates or sugars or starches while also stopping something called lipolysis, which is fat breakdown. So not only does it cause storing or weight gain, it also stops fat burning. Okay, let's dive into those healthy food items that are actually loaded with sugar and stopping your progress. Number 1, dates. Now, I recently actually did an email on this topic for the weekly AM Peeps newsletter, and dates was included as one of the number 1 most sneaky health food items that are in a ton of those healthy foods. It's actually loaded with sugar. And the problem is that dates are used in pretty high quantities for a lot of those protein or energy bars. Now, if we're looking at just one medjool date, it comes in at around 16 grams of sugar, which isn't a good amount of sugar, but it's still not going to be detrimental to your goals if you have one. But the problem is that dates are often used as a replacement for refined sugars, which in itself isn't a bad thing, but you're still getting nearly the same amount of sugar as you would get from the refined sugars from using dates. And typically per serving, when dates are used in different recipes or in these energy bars or protein bars, you're looking at around 3 to 4 dates per serving. This totals between 48 to 64 grams of sugar. This is the sugarcane equivalent of 12 to 16 teaspoons of sugar. That in itself is going to cause that really big massive spike in insulin and keep you in more of that storing mode and completely halt your progress, if not reverse your progress. Number 2, sweetened yogurts. I recently did a video breaking down the various types of dairy products that are better for weight loss goals, and yogurts or Greek yogurts in general can actually be a pretty good tool. Problem comes in when they're sweetened. And this might sound obvious, but even the vanilla flavor of yogurts has a ton of sugar. Even those fruit on the bottom types of yogurts are also going to be packed with sugar and sweetened as well. And going back to that vanilla example, that would seem to be the most tame example when it comes to added sugars. But it turns out that even the vanilla yogurt has double the amount of sugars that the plain yogurt has. So if you do choose to use yogurts for your weight loss or your wellness goals, just remember to look for unsweetened and preferably Greek yogurt over regular yogurt if you are looking for weight loss. Number 3, mangoes and dried mangoes. Tropical fruits in general are going to be much higher in sugar than berries. And in fact, one full mango comes in at a pretty shocking 46 grams of sugar, which that amount is more than what's in a vanilla latte from someplace like Starbucks. And this is talking about fresh mango, because when we're looking at the dried mango, this is a much more concentrated source of sugar. And just 1 cup of the dried unsweetened mangoes comes in at about 74 grams of sugar. That's more than 2 Snickers bars. Number 4, honey and maple syrup. Often we give these other types of added sugars, because that's what they still are, they're added sugars. We often give these a pass or a health halo because they're less refined than things like high fructose corn syrup. But the truth is that honey and maple syrup are still really extremely dense sources of sugar and still an added source of sugar. In fact, confusingly, a lot of these sugar-free recipes that you'll find online on various blogs still contain honey and maple syrup, which I get very confused on how they can make that claim. I'm assuming they mean unrefined sugars, but it's still misleading because it still has roughly the same amount of sugar as the regular option. And especially if you're struggling with weight loss or if you've hit a plateau, we really want to focus on the issues that are causing your insulin to spike, sugars being the number 1 source of that. So any form of added sugars, even the seemingly more wholesome types like honey and maple syrup, will inhibit that fat burning process. Number 5, chia puddings, specifically at restaurants or grab and go places. If you've followed my channel for a while, then you guys know I'm a really big fan of chia puddings as a really great way to break your fast or to have your first meal. But this is when we're talking about recipes like the one I've shared with you guys right here, not the types that you're going to get from most restaurants and grab and go places. Not only are these types typically extremely low in the fats that will keep you satiated, but they also replace the flavor and texture that fat would bring along with it with high amounts of sugar instead. Typically, this is where you'll see the added maple syrup and the added honey that is, again, seemingly wholesome, but still has that really big negative effect on your weight loss goals. So if you do love those chia brekky bowls, which I don't blame you, I've been having them every day this week, then just make sure you're using a recipe that will actually help you to achieve your goals. And I do share that recipe. I'll have it linked down in the description down below as well. Number 6, Bananas. Now, this is a really great example of something that can be used in small sugar amounts, but also you can easily go overboard with it. Just like with dates, if you use like one date to ease your sweet tooth, that's not necessarily the biggest problem, but it's when you start using it consistently and in larger amounts and compiled with other types of foods that are high in sugar where the problem comes in. In fact, you'll even see in a lot of my recipes in the complete intermittent fasting bundle, I do use a little bit of banana to provide that small amount of sweetness as well as that texture. And that's because half a banana comes in at around 7 grams of sugar, but a full banana comes in at around 14 to 15 grams of sugar. And when you look at a lot of these grab and go places that you might be relying on for smoothies, or if you're getting one at a trendy local smoothie shop, they're often using at least one, if not multiple bananas in there to make it really thick and sweet. That means that just from the banana, let alone any of the other ingredients they could be adding into the smoothie, you could be getting anywhere between 30 to 45 grams of sugar in just one smoothie. And typically one of the reasons why they do use banana in order to get that texture is not just because of the addictive nature of sugar, which obviously that does play a big part, but also because bananas are one of the less expensive options, especially to act as a filler for a smoothie. And you guys seen that for smoothies that I'll create, I use things like chia seeds and flax seeds, avocado sometimes, in order to get that thickness, but also to provide the protein and fat to keep you satiated. These are items that actually help you to achieve your weight loss goals rather than hold you back and act as a filler with something like banana. Number 7, protein bars. This is another one where if you've been following me for a while, then you know my stance on protein bars or energy bars. But if you're new, this is one of the biggest game changers you could make when it comes to changing your diet in order to help achieve your weight loss and just feeling good goals, is removing protein bars. Protein bars are another one of those foods that sort of get a health halo as being beneficial, even though they're really just cleverly marketed candy bars. I mean, seriously, please look at some of your favorite different types of protein or energy bars. One of the first, if not second, or perhaps even third ingredient is going to be tapioca syrup, brown rice syrup, cane syrup. And if not that, it's going to be honey or maple syrup. And again, that's due to the addictive nature of sugar. And so they're trying to make it so that you'll really like that protein bar and want to keep coming back for more. Good business strategy for them, not a good weight loss or wellness strategy for you. And even if the protein bar you choose uses artificial or, those fake type of sugars that don't actually have any caloric value to them, there's some speculation by scientists that this can actually have the same, if not worse, effect on your weight loss goals by causing you to then crave more of those sugars, because then it can actually cause you to increase your sugar cravings and make it more likely for you to seek out foods that are actively working against your goals. Plus, protein bars in general are causing you to move away from full meals and more of a snacking mode mentality. This means that you're going to get those constant spikes of insulin every time you eat. And if you're eating often because you're relying on things like protein bars, you're always going to get that steady stream of insulin that's causing you to be in more of that storing mode. Now, in order to avoid something like protein bars or snacking, it's essential that you're eating until satiated, which is something I very heavily dive into in the complete intermittent fasting bundle. Number 8, jackfruit. Now, if you've been to any vegan restaurants lately, then you probably noticed jackfruit as one of the protein alternative swaps. This fruit is often used as one of those protein alternative swaps because it has a similar texture to shredded meats. And I've tried it, it is good, but it does not really act as a really great equivalent to a protein. Especially when you look at the fact that protein is a really great tool to help to actively work toward your wellness goals by keeping you satiated, activating the release of peptide YY, which is one of the greatest appetite suppressants. But 1 cup of fresh jackfruit only has around 3 grams of protein, which is minuscule, especially for the amount of 1 cup, and it comes in at around 32 grams of sugar. So not only would you be replacing that normal type of protein that you could have as a protein source in whatever meal you're having, but you're replacing it with sugar, which is one of the most active proponents to work against your weight loss goals. Now, even if you are plant-based, there's a lot of other better protein options that you can have, but jackfruit is not one that you want to use as a protein source. Number 9, original teas and coffees. This one is especially sneaky because if you go to different coffee shops and you just ask for the regular version of whatever tea or coffee they have, likely it's sweetened. That's just the standard protocol for the original forms. And that's because typically the different nut milks that they're using in order to make those teas and coffees are in the original form as well, where the original form means added sugar. Just to give an example, 1 cup of original almond milk has around 7 grams of added sugar. And some coffee shops might not even have the unsweetened version on hand. So as a good rule of thumb, if you're not making your own coffee or tea, it's really important to make sure that you get it black or unsweetened. Now, if you're looking to eat less sugar or maybe cut it out completely in order to achieve your weight loss goals, I have a really easy 2-step system that you can check out right here. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love the science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out with new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.